Welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Owygen. Purple Mafia is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you, once and always, for downloading and listening. Back on board with you once again today. The Minnesota Vikings hosted Kirk Cousins. Remember that guy, Kirk Cousins? You know, with all the money and all that stuff. Yeah, we hosted Kirk Cousins, and, well, what was the final score? Well, the fourth quarter made things a little bit prettier, but still, one way or another, 42-21, the Minnesota Vikings beat Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons in U.S. Bank Stadium. Yes, Kirk, we do like that, and we do appreciate the 2 interceptions and no touchdown passes, but things did look kind of scary at the beginning, I'll admit. It wasn't that easy, but luckily, the Minnesota Vikings, things started to head in the right direction pretty quickly for the most part, and, well, a lot of people probably at the time back in March, especially down in Atlanta and other parts of the National Football League, other fan bases and media conglomerates or whatever, thought it might be an opposite situation where, say, the Falcons are doing really well and the Vikings are kind of battling 500, the whole 500 deal, the 500 bridge with this Sam Darnold guy at quarterback. Instead, well, Sam Darnold, unbelievable, the first Vikings quarterback since October 17th, 2004 to throw 5 touchdown passes in a game. Daunte Culpepper was the last guy to do it. Way back on October 17th, 2004. That's quite a while, no doubt about that.
Isn't that cool?
Absolutely insane. Kind of digging around here. I really appreciate footballreference.com for this one because you get to look at all the different numbers. It was against the Saints. Culpepper actually threw 5 touchdowns that season. 3 times. That's absolutely crazy. Lots of 5 touchdown games because this is all in order, like when they took place, like from not just Culpepper but like other quarterbacks like Trent Green, other quarterbacks in general. Gus Frerotte threw 5 touchdowns that year against the San Diego Chargers. He was on the Broncos. Gus Frerotte. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Gus Frerotte threw 5 touchdowns that year, 2004. So it's versus the Dallas Cowboys. Well, no, the Dallas Cowboys was the first one. I still remember that one coming home from, I believe we were up in Duluth, and yeah, it's like, geez, just kind of keeping up with the game on the radio and looking at the stats on the, on the phone, because back then was already the early days of looking at sports numbers on the phone. That's Culpepper 5 touchdowns, crazy, crushing the Cowboys on September 12th, 2004. That was, I believe, the regular season opener. The next week not the next week, about a month later, October 10th, Houston Texans, 5 touchdowns, and then on October 17th against the New Orleans Saints. 5 touchdowns, October 17th. So it's the last time a Vikings quarterback has thrown 5 touchdowns in a game. So pretty awesome. It took 20 years, but here we are. 20 bleeping years. We even had Brett Favre. We even had Tavares Jackson and Sam Bradford and this guy and that guy. But we had Sam Darnold this time. And isn't this nice? Listen to this. You can hardly hear it. And that was with the mouse right on top of the microphone. I got a mouse that's on a lot quieter click. This is what we were listening to the last few weeks, and this is the new backup one. Are you kidding me? That's not a real good podcasting mouse. And then this was the real backup. Yikes, that's kind of loud. And even this one, pretty loud. Yeah, this is the one I'd been using for years, and it started to kind of fall apart. It's quieter, but not as quiet as this new cute one here, and only $10 too. Amazon, yeah. Nice thing. It's, I forgot. It's like a pretty generic, it's a generic company, but hey, if it works, it does the job, good. Sometimes generic is a good thing, rather than paying $50 for like something that does the exact same thing. It's a mouse. This isn't, this isn't like I don't even know. Like say a TV, like a generic TV or something. You never know what's going to happen with that. You might get some weird picture quality, but let's move on. Sorry, or like a real generic laptop. Who knows? The thing might like start blowing up on you in a couple months or something. Yeah, you don't want to go too cheap on the laptop. You don't want to buy the most expensive thing either because they drop in value real fast. Kind of like cars to all you fancy car people out there that like to pretend you're rich. You like to pretend you're rich. Yeah, well, anyhow, people that like to pretend they're rich or like to, take as much money as humanly possible, well, they're a quarterback, a running back, a receiver, a basketball player, whatever, rather than maybe concentrating on doing something, I don't know, like trying to win, so to speak. Obviously, I know you want to get your value, but sometimes you're overvaluing yourself. Like, be realistic. And plus the fact you've already made tons and tons of money. The whole Kirk Cousins situation just was frustrating beyond belief. They should have moved on after the first 3 years, and they didn't. That was kind of the talk during the course of the season. It's beyond frustrating. You can imagine, like what we pretty much went through over the course of the last few years under Kirk Cousins and all of that. Jiminy. Well, it's showing his cap hit is only $25 million, but you know how they do that. They kick the can down the road. Dead cap of $90 million. What? That's kind of weird. And he's 36 is Kirk Cousins. So, again, it's absolutely nuts. And I don't know. You just think about it. Okay, hopefully I can just click on this and it'll show his whole contract. That'd be great. Yeah. Cap hit is 25 this year. Next year is 40. The next year is 57.5. The next year is 57.5. 26 and 27. So you have to do something, restructure this or that. Dead cap would be $90 million if the Falcons. I just think that's beyond crazy. And then he's an unrestricted free agent at age 40. This is, again, Kirk frickin' Cousins. Expensive beyond belief. And, of course, they already drafted an older quarterback in the draft. A guy who was like 24 years of age, unlike J.J. McCarthy, who's 21. So thank you, Falcons, for signing Kirk Cousins from us and also for not drafting J.J. McCarthy. Thank you. And thank you some more. And, I mean, this is just the ultimate scenario where you come ahead. I mean, 42 to 21. Yes, it's in U.S. Bank Stadium, but good Lord. Again, a lot of times you thought Sam Darnold might have a game like this, where like a game like this. 37 attempts, 23 completions, 344 yards. He'll get some yardage, and then the 2 interceptions. And then you have the other guy, 22 completions of 28, 347 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Quarterback rating of 157.9. So you figured maybe Kirk Cousins had this great game, either, against the Vikings or for the Vikings if he's still on the Vikings. He has this great game in U.S. Bank Stadium, like against Detroit not that long ago when they were terrible, and Matt Patricia was the coach and all that. It was like every time we played Detroit in U.S. Bank Stadium, it's going to be 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, maybe a couple other games like that, where Kirk just kind of goes off against this mediocre to below average team. And it's like, all right, well, that was fun, and you knew there would probably be something like that. And then Darnold might get some yardage, but he'd have some stinking turnovers, and his quarterback rating's about 70. It's like, yeah, that's about all we're going to get. But at least he's a placeholder. And then, no, as Dan Bongino might say, dipsy-doo flipperoo. Sam Darnold was the one for 347 yards, 5 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins was the one with 344 yards, 2 interceptions. I mean, it's, you're just kind of blown away. You're absolutely blown away. Speaking of being blown away, okay, yeah, the Vikings receivers, Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, 8 catches for Jordan, 133 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's right, 3. That's a career high. He goes from 4 to 7 just like that. My goodness. Justin Jefferson, who hadn't caught a touchdown in about a month, gets 2 today, 7 catches, 132 yards. 7 targets. He caught the ball every time it was thrown his direction. Well, at least one of Jordan Addison's targets was a pass interference penalty on Mike Hughes that put the Vikings into the red zone. It was a pretty deep play. Jordan Addison was actually like, I didn't catch it, because he actually could have caught it, which is funny. The penalty would have still been called, but it would have been declined at that point. Like, we caught it. Who cares? We caught it. So maybe save the guy running a couple laps tomorrow. But no, he's going to have to run laps. I don't know, just a matter, like whatever the punishment might be. Darnell Mooney had some huge plays. Great throws by Kirk Cousins. To be fair, great throws by Kirk Cousins, especially in the first half. Sounds about right. Like, imagine this is a playoff game, a wild card game. Think the Vikings would win and advance and all that. That was what the projection was if the season ended today. But before the game now, it's going to change around. I believe Tampa looks like that could be the opponent now. But hopefully the Vikings can change something going forward. Beating Detroit head to head, and maybe somebody else can also beat the Detroit Lions. What's really annoying is the wheel's a little bit louder on this mouse than some of the others, but the clicking was the most annoying. If you hear a little once in a while, who cares? That's probably less annoying than a tit 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 tit. So, sorry, I'm dancing all over the place here. Darnell Mooney with 6 catches, 142 yards, and again, some great throws by Kirk Cousins to be 1,000% fair. But John Robinson with some nice runs, but was contained fairly well, generally speaking. Tyler Aguiar got in the end zone once, had a 25-yard run, getting bouncing off of Viking defenders. He had a pretty good game, to be quite fair. Again, 7 yards a carry on only 9 carries, 63 yards. That great run defense didn't look all too great today. In fact, the defense as a whole gave up a ton of yards. But, well, this is the definition of bend but don't break. And again, they made some pretty big plays as well, some tackles for loss. Early on, Jalen Redmond looked like he was on his way to getting a Fran Tarkington award the way he was going. He had a tackle for loss. He had 2 pass deflections at the line. So, great, not getting his hand up and knocking away Kirk Cousins' attempt, which were huge. Obviously, forcing third, fourth, either fourth down or loss of downs in those situations. Shaq Griffin missed out on an interception because Drake London ended up basically regaining possession of the ball. London had some decent plays, generally speaking. He had 2 big plays like that one and another, but no touchdowns, 5 total catches on 10 targets, 70 yards total for the top receiver there in Atlanta. But Darnell Mooney was absolutely great. Ray McLeod also had some big plays, 8 catches for 98 yards, but he also had a huge fumble loss on, I believe, he had the fumble lost, and that was a big thing, unfortunately for him. That was on a kick return. He fumbled the ball. The one single kick return that he got to do ends up fumbling the ball, or a kick return on a kickoff rather than a punt return. Ended up fumbling the ball, so that kind of figured the Vikings would later capitalize, so good for us. Big disappointment there. The Vikings offense struggled a bit early. The Falcons offense looked elite early, but it was kind of a sugar high type of thing. And it was a sugar high with Kirk Cousins obviously getting booed pretty vociferously opening out. I'm sure there were some fans cheering, but it was hard to tell. Yeah, the boos were definitely stronger than the cheers, and, well, it kind of is what it is. I mean, it kind of is what it is. What'd you expect? A contract like that and all the BS, tough times don't last, tough guys do. It's like, and he'd say that every damn year, and it's like, yeah, but okay, all these expectations coming in. Because I didn't really talk about Kirk Cousins last week because I was babbling on about other stuff, and it's like, oh crap, I better get the heck moving. But all the crap, leading into that 2017 season. Sam Bradford looks great against the Saints. Next thing you know, he's his knees bugging him again, and it's like, oh crap. Okay, well, what do we do now? I guess it's Case Keenum. He looked like Dog Dookie at the beginning, and then all of a sudden something started to click, and he just got better and better and better. And the Vikings defense was unbelievable, especially on third down. It was like the best defense in football. Case Keenum was clutch. Case Keenum was mobile. Case Keenum was fun to watch. Case Keenum was not expensive. Bradford was kind of expensive, but not Kirk Cousins level, not even close. Bradford was fun and all that. Keenum had these big moments, and then here comes the Eagles game after the Minneapolis Miracle. Everybody knew that sugar high was going to wear off, and then it's like, oh Lord, hopefully we can handle this on the road. Keenum drives the team down the field on the opening kickoff. Basically, drives the team down the field. Next thing you know, it's like the guy's arm wasn't what we. It was like the magic wand completely ran out of magic points. Pass deflected, this and that. The arm strength just wasn't there. And the Eagles rolled all over the Vikings and wound up winning the Super Bowl to rub it in our face in our own stadium 2 weeks later. Yep. And against the New England Patriots, Tom Brady's actually on TV right now. Rams are hosting the Buffalo Bills, another Super Bowl that has never happened yet. There was even a possibility that the Bills could move to Los Angeles years ago before the Rams and the Chargers moved there, because LA still didn't have a team. The Bills were a possible team moving to LA. Vikings, Bills, Jaguars, teams like that. But this is a Super Bowl that hasn't happened yet. Maybe someday, but probably not this year. I don't think the Rams are good enough. Buffalo Bills might be, though. We'll have to wait and see. I'm kind of going all over the place. I have a lot of, it's a lot of mixed emotions and all that. Just like, obviously, Kirk Cousins said that coming in as well, about upon leaving and such. And But I don't really have any mixed emotions. I feel gratitude today. I feel absolute gratitude, great joy and gratitude, as Star Trek characters might say in season 1. I feel great joy and gratitude right now. Yeah. Sam Darnold, $10 million a year. Kirk Cousins, crazy contract. What is it, $140 million in just 3 years? It's just absolutely nuts. Like, what for? What for? Oh, it's absolutely insane. Like, seriously, I'll say again, what for? Like, what are we doing? It's too much. Too much money. And then next thing players would have to be let go, and there's no real suitable replacement. Hopefully, hope to God, some rookie is good, or some really random signing. But then we were able to make decent signings. You don't have to get the most expensive guys there are, and that's kind of the idea. Get guys that are good, that can play the position and get the job done without completely, compromising your cap, and then you can't do a dang thing afterward. Well, yeah. Look at the Vikings' depth on defense. Look at the Vikings' overall strength on defense. I mean, you have a good, solid defense now that isn't being run out of the building. You have a quarterback that's outplaying Kirk Cousins at a fraction of the price, about a quarter of the price. Kirk Cousins is like a $35 to $40 million quarterback, and he's not playing like it. He's simply not. And at age 36, I don't think it's going to happen. I think the ship has sailed. So Atlanta's going to have to figure out something, unfortunately. Luckily, they do have a quarterback of the future, but they still have Kirk Cousins' albatross contract at the moment. Luckily, it's not like some 7-year thing. I mean, that's where it's fire the GM tomorrow. You're idiots. What are you doing? But, well, kind of are idiots, and what are they doing? But, some of the decisions made by Raheem Morris, who's a pretty good coach. He's a pretty good coach, defensive, great defensive coordinator in the past. He's been a decent coach. He's okay, but I don't know. I mean, some of the decisions made today. I'm talking too fast. Not good. There's a reason why the Vikings receivers are so dominant, because the defense was, the corners were one-on-one on these receivers, and these receivers were outplaying the corners of Atlanta. It's that simple. That's pretty much what happened. There was no doubles at all, hardly, and Sam Darnold and co. took advantage. Aaron Jones didn't lose a fumble. Cam Akers had a couple of nice runs late to kind of put the game in doubt. And Aaron Jones ended up finishing off the drive with a touchdown. His first in this game, his only in this game. But Aaron Jones, definitely solid overall performance. It was more of a kind of a passer game in a lot of ways. Even though Darnold attempted only 28 passes, the Falcons did dominate the ball throughout the first quarter and such. But the tide definitely started to turn as the game progressed. It did start to move back to Atlanta again. Let's not forget. I mean, this game was tied 21-21. You do realize that, right? The game was 21-21 at one point in the third quarter. And it's a little bit scary after the Falcons were able to convert on the 2-point conversion to come back from 21-13 to tie it up. Yeah. Well, it worked. I mean, Bijan Robinson touchdown, Bijan Robinson 2-point conversion. So congratulations to any fantasy owner of Bijan Robinson that might be listening. Unfortunately, I didn't have either wide receiver, and I don't have Darnold at quarterback either. Ah, man. I could use that. 21-21 with 40. Yeah, this was 43 seconds remaining, by the way, in the third quarter. 43 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Thankfully, the Vikings completely dominate the fourth. Everything kind of starts going back in the other direction. Interception by Kirk Cousins, a fumble by Ray McLeod. Isn't that a cool name? No, kind of. Fumble by Ray McLeod. And, of course, one of the interceptions was Mr. Byron Murphy Jr., his 6th of the season. And I came up with a new nickname for him. He's the closer, plain and simple. It might seem all basic, but still, it's an appropriate name. Josh Metellus had the first interception. Once the tide started, it looked like it's starting to head towards the Vikings. He started feeling better, but then we didn't really do anything with that one. That was unfortunate. You also had a really weird situation where, you had a repunt, which is kind of funny. That was kind of a weird situation. But you also had a deal where Vikings, Will Reichert would have had a field goal made today. Instead, he, ends up having a miss from 47, which is unfortunate. He would have had a 39-yard make, but that's okay because Atlanta jumped off sides. Minnesota regains possession and ends up going up 14-7, much to our delight and much to the chagrin over on Atlanta's sideline. They were pretty pissed off, as you could see. Justin Jefferson from Sam Darnold was the completion there. And then Young Hoku made it 14-10 to get the Falcons to double digits at the very least near the end of the half. So at least they got something out of it, as the Vikings defense was stalwart down the stretch after giving up a number of yards, making the red zone stop as Young Hoku made a kick that was shorter than an extra point of 20 yards because, again, the Vikings defense held strong enough. Thankfully, the Falcons did convert a fourth down conversion in the game. In fact, they converted 2, which was really annoying, but they also were stopped on another as well. So definitely a lot of action-packed craziness in this game. Of course, a lot of emotions involved in this game, no doubt about it. Again, Byron Murphy Jr., one of the interceptions, again, his 6th of the year, which is way at the top there of the league. Josh Metellus got the other one. Only one sack on Kirk Cousins throughout the entire game. That was Jamin Davis. Good for him on that. Dallas Turner had a nice hit on Kirk Cousins as well, as the ball was swatted away by, I believe, Jalen Redmond, if I remember correctly. I believe that was one of Redmond's blocks. Lots of pass deflections. Jonathan Blake Cashman had one. Van Ginkel almost had an interception. Unfortunately, that would have been a pick 6. Murphy, of course, I said that 6 times already with the interception. And even Harrison Phillips with a pass deflection at the line. Not so much for the corners, as they were beat quite a bit for a while there. That's why Kirk Cousins at 344 yards. Not the greatest day for the cornerbacks, but they made plays later as the game progressed. Shaq Griffin had some moments, and he had some not-so-great moments. Generally speaking, I thought Shaq Griffin was pretty solid. It's a shame he didn't get that one interception, but that's kind of how that goes at the end of the day. Fabian Moreau was beat a few times, but I don't think he was that terrible. He just was beat, like generally speaking. And we were asking the secondary to step up, and then Griffin had a big stop along the way. So Shaq Griffin did a good job, of course, in the stead. Shaq Griffin and Fabian Moreau, both in there with the injury to Stephon Gilmore. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully Gilmore will be back next week. We'll have to wait and see. But luckily, the Viking secondary it bent but didn't break. So that's good news for sure. Mike Hughes didn't have a single tackle in the game, but he again did have the big penalty at the end of the day. That was very costly for the Falcons, putting us in the red zone at the end of the day. And that was big time. Obviously, Jordan Addison was absolutely crazy throughout the entire game. And there's no question about it. So if we're going to pass out awards for this game, the Frank Turkington Award has to go to Sam Darnold, but of course, extremely strong honorable mention to Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson as well. But I think Jordan gets even more because he had 3 touchdowns. That's just crazy. It just never happens. But Sam Darnold had the kind of game that hasn't happened in 20 years. We've had Brett Favre come through here. We had a guy making $38 million, guaranteed, 100% guaranteed. No matter what, he was always going to get as much money as possible. Before he's able to sign on the dotted line. As much money as possible. No 5 touchdown games for Kirk Cousins. Yes, he had a bunch of 4 touchdown games, and those are nice. They're very good. But, again, it's just kind of symbolic at the end of the day how this all turns out. That Sam Darnold, head-to-head with Kirk Cousins, throws 5. Kirk throws 0. Kirk throws 0. It's just amazing. So, and again, the great ball control and a quarterback rating of 157.9. I mean, you cannot tell me Sam Darnold does not deserve the Fran Tarkenton Award for this episode. He will be getting it. Jordan Addison, extremely strong honorable mention. He would get it pretty much every other game. Any other situation. Justin Jefferson could have got it easily, too, with 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nobody on the defense can steal it away. It's just impossible. Even though a couple of those guys had some good games, like Metellus was generally good. Again, he got beat. A lot of the defenders were beat in the game, and again, 1 sack, and it was just Jermaine Davis, and it was his only tackle in the game. But all the credit to him. Good tackle. Good job. Good tackle. Falcons' defense was pretty tough early on, and also some more sacks, generally speaking, throughout the game. They had 4 in the game. Eddie Goldman, Matthew Judon, Caden Ellis, it's kind of longer than normal with a sack, and Arnold Ebikete. Boy, they just get easier and easier and easier, don't they? Real easy one. Not. Wow. You come out of this feeling great, but it's one game though. Vikings now are 11-2. Now you have the Bears coming up for a whiteout celebrating Christmas season. I call it Christmas season still proudly. If you celebrate Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, well, happy Hanukkah and happy Kwanzaa. Yep, absolutely. But, like with the whiteout, and I'm not ashamed to say Merry Christmas on this show. I'm not. Like I just said, happy Hanukkah and happy Kwanzaa. I'm not, that doesn't mean I'm excluding anybody by saying Merry Christmas. I'm not. So, it's, but I will be proud to say Merry Christmas on the show. Now, I've said it 6 times. Sorry to annoy anyone if I'm going a little bit overboard here. It is what it is. But, yes, up and coming, we have a whiteout versus the Chicago Bears. Hopefully the Vikings continue some whiteout jobs against those guys. I'll be having a nice cinnamon roll with frosting on it probably on that day, especially if there's snow on the ground. It just has that cinnamon roll vibe. I don't know why, but especially that Christmas Eve one a few years ago. Yes. I don't think we'll be playing the Bears in the first round, so it won't be a replay of that, where here come the Bears and then they knock us out. Again, shades of that horrific loss to the Chicago Bears in 1994. Oof. After sweeping them in that regular season, that dramatic, was it a Thursday night game? I forget if it was Monday night or Thursday night, but I know it was a night game. Might even have been a Sunday night game back in 94. Very dramatic back and forth game. A forced fumble. It made a huge difference. Like, oh, yes, we got it. We're going to win the division now. Celebrate. Yay. Yeah, 10-6, though. Like, yay. We didn't officially win the division, though, until a little bit later. So there was that at the end of the day. So, sorry. We didn't win the division officially until we beat the 49ers. When the Niners are basically already going to be, 13-3 or 14-2, but 13-3 ultimately because it was like Steve Young got hit once. They already had the number 1 seed in place. I was actually at that game in person for the first Viking game ever for me. Jerry Rice, Steve Young, yeah, those guys. Deion Sanders is 1 year there. That great 49ers team that won the Super Bowl. I was there cheering for the Vikings, yes, and the Niners were my second favorite team at the time. Just, it's like at San Francisco. They're just, the aura is awesome. Steve Young was hit like once, and it's like, okay, enough. Get him out of there. Elvis Gerbach, you're in. And that's what happened. The Niners just kind of, quietly let that go. They still played hard, I'm sure, but they didn't have their star players in after that. The Niners, lost the game, but went on to win the Super Bowl comfortably, including knocking the crap out of the Cowboys in the NFC title game, which that was just awesome. Absolutely wonderful. Beat the crap out of them, and then killed the Chargers in the Super Bowl, and haven't won a Super Bowl since, unfortunately. But, it was that type of deal. I don't even know what I'm getting at and why I even gotten into that. But it's like you think about, 94. Yeah, we'd beaten the Bears. We won the division. That's the whole point. And then you have to play them a third time, and what happened? The Bears killed us. Okay. Sorry, I drug that out way too far. But that's kind of how I roll sometimes when I get historic. But, it was, good memories until that stupid wildcard game anyway. With that said, Tarkington, too. I already said it. Tarkington and Darnold. I'm not in a huge rush to pass out. Okay, I have a person. The Christian Ponder Memorial is, it's going to be Garrett Bradbury. I think he's terrible. He's getting beat up the middle so much. It's extremely frustrating, beyond belief. Garrett Bradbury just continues to get, forklifted or whatever the term is. He continues to get beat up the middle. The Atlanta Falcons defense was taking advantage of that and put us in a not great position early on in the game. It was kind of scary for a minute there. Kirk Cousins was hitting, and our defense or our offensive line wasn't protecting Sam Darnold. It was a little bit worrisome for a minute. I was like, that would totally figure to lose a game like this. It would be ridiculous. But thankfully, things did change, generally speaking. And Darnold, again, taking advantage of the blitz, getting rid of the ball quicker, and getting something done, even though he did get sacked 4 total times in the game. With that said, we'll take a quick break and look around the league and preview the Bears for the whiteout coming up on December 16th, Monday Night Football. And we are back here on Purple Mafia, segment number 2, fan interaction segment. Thank you once again for joining me, and we'll be looking at the games around the league, and of course, previewing the Bears, the whiteout that's coming up. I want to make a quick note. So, of course, usually like segment 1 is the afternoon, segment 2 is, like after dinner, you could say. Yeah, it's after dinner, and you got Sunday Night Football flashing in the background, which it is. Chiefs are up 3-0, I believe, over the LA Chargers. So we'll see how that turns out. But also at dinner, which was at Emily's Lebanese Deli, of course, so that's family right there. You wouldn't believe something, but I am 99.9% sure the very tall 50-ish-year-old guy with his family at the table behind us was former Twins third baseman Corey Koski from Enola, Canada. So pretty cool. Yeah. So I even saw on the Twitter, was it Shannon Koski, I believe? It's her. Yeah, it's her and it's him. Corey Koski was at Emily's Lebanese Deli. That was pretty cool. So, wow, that was awesome. So 1 in a million chance they like the Vikings and are listening to this show. Huge shout out to the Koskis, and I loved Corey as a player. Unfortunately, I believe concussions kind of derailed his career later on, but what a hell of a hitter he was. He was a good hitter, and he became a really good fielder as well as he continued to get better and better. Loved Corey Koski from the day he set foot on the Minnesota Twins in 1998, 99, around there. So, great player. Great player. Okay, so now we'll look around the league, but I had to mention that. I mean, that was freaking cool. I like that. It's absolutely awesome. So wasn't there a Thursday night game with the, but that's going to have to wait till much later. That's a divisional game. Yeah, there was a Thursday night game. People always complain about the quality of Thursday night football. Detroit versus Green Bay, that's awesome. But usually as you get to December, whether it's Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday night football or Monday night football, usually the quality is really, 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 really high. Next week's opponent played against the 49ers, and they are a division rival as well. So that all kind of works together well. That is the Chicago Bears. Arizona Cardinals, last week's opponent, playing up against an opponent 2 weeks from now, and that opponent 2 weeks from now looks like they're going to win the division, most likely. They're going to win the NFC West. The other team that was leading in a division at some point this year was the Falcons, and now they're in trouble in the NFC South. Seattle crushes Arizona 30-18. 30-18, they are now 8-5 on the season. Kyler Murray, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Unfortunately, not good. Trey McBride, remember he was a very valuable player, the tight end last week for the Cardinals. 7 catches, 70 yards. Geno Smith, again, we got to worry about him coming up soon. 30 attempts, 24 completions, very accurate. 1 touchdown, really high quarterback rating of 110. So Geno Smith. Yep, obviously Caleb Williams next week. Zach Carbonet, if I'm saying it correctly. Tecmo Bowl football at its finest. 22 rushes, 134 yards, 6.1 a carry. 2 touchdowns, a 51-yard long. But, we're going to have to do a better job stopping the run when we play Seattle. We'll talk about Chicago coming up, but that's kind of scary. That's not a good deal. So I'm already kind of looking ahead. It's funny how 2 weeks from now we'll be playing Seattle, and it's the first game I'm looking at, and last week's opponent. It's just all kind of weird how it all ties together. Seattle is 8-5 and in good shape, possibly to win the NFC West until they play the Vikings, because nobody beats the Vikings, right? Again, Sunday Night Football, just 3-0. Chargers are very stingy defensively. So are the Chiefs, 11-1. Chargers are 8-4, and definitely would like to see the Chargers do something, knock the Chiefs down a bit. Only 3-0 in the second quarter already. So, starting the second quarter a few minutes ago. Monday Night Football, you got the Bengals visiting the Dallas Cowboys. Their season is on the line pretty much. They got to beat the Cowboys. That's on ESPN tomorrow on Monday Night Football. And unfortunately kind of unfortunate for some of us, let's just say, Monday Night Football Vikings next week. Yeah, so we're the next Monday night game after tomorrow. Green Bay, Detroit, got to wait. Rematch of that AFC Championship game back in 1999, or of course 2000 at that point, because it was January, I believe. Yeah, it wasn't February yet. 2 3-10 teams. The Tennessee Titans hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they're both 3-10 after this game, at least. Tennessee losing their 10th, and Jacksonville winning their 3rd game of the season. Of course, we all know what happened to Lawrence last week. Trevor Lawrence, not Lawrence Taylor. Trevor Lawrence. You have Mac Jones replacing him, and you have Will Levis, the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans. This is the kind of football, it's like if you're a podcaster, you might want to just listen on the radio. It's really kind of junk, except for Tony Pollard running for 5 yards a carry. That's kind of good. More technical football there. If you don't mind a good, solid running game, which Tony Pollard is providing, former Cowboy, of course. 21 carries, 102 yards, about 5 yards a carry, but did not get in the end zone, folks, because Tennessee did not get in the end zone. Mac Jones, the former Patriot, stuck in big time. Quarterback rating of 66.6. You might want to have incompleted one extra pass because 666. Wow, Mac, what are you doing? 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, 220 yards. A lot of twos and a lot of creepy numbers here. 23-31 completion to attempts ratio, if that makes any sense. Will Levis, mediocre at best. 32 attempts, 19 completions, 168 yards, and a quarterback rating of 73.4. Pretty much unwatchable crap, again, except for Tony Pollard. Tank Bigsby, both of the running backs were okay, but I guess Bigsby just ran several times. 18 rushes for only 55 yards, but he did get in the end zone once. Brian Thomas Jr. with 86 yards and 8 catches. Travis Etienne Jr., 4 catches, 50 yards with a 21-yard long, but nothing special here. Let's just move on. I don't know. Wasn't Nick Folk on Philadelphia and they won the Super Bowl? Boy, what a far cry from that. Tennessee stinks. They stink. I don't want to spend any more time on this one. Miami Dolphins versus the... Are they really only 6-7? That seems low. Yeah, they had to go to overtime in this one. Miami was losing pretty much the whole way. Well, except real early. Yeah, the Jets had 10 points in the third quarter, and they took the lead. But Miami slowly but surely came roaring back, and Tua continues to play outstanding football. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions again, and came out of it healthy, which is always important. It is. 47 attempts, 33 completions, 331 in the yardage department. Quarterback rating, if I didn't mention it, 104.1. Sounds like a FM station around here that plays like kind of classic music. I think it is. Tyreek Hill with 10 catches, 115 yards, and a touchdown. I'm not going to say that other thing. Devon Archain, 14 rushes, 24 yards, a long of 7. But he got in the end zone, so okay, Mo Williams. Garrett Wilson, 114 yards for those Green Bay Jets. Okay, just kidding. They kind of are the Green Bay Jets. They kind of are. I mean, yeah. And Tyler Conklin with 3 catches, 33. Good for him. Former Viking, of course. Alan Lazard with 1 catch for 18. Devontae Adams, 9 catches for 109. Yeah, you leave the putrid, sappy, crappy Oakland Raiders to go to the putrid, sappy, crappy Jets. They're out of fuel, right? 339 yards, though, for A-Raj and a touchdown. Did have a good, solid quarterback rating, but I can imagine him rolling his eyes quite a bit as Miami came rolling back. And, wow. Well, they are 3-10. No playoffs for them. 0 chance at this stage. Though I wouldn't be surprised if a 7-10 team did make the playoffs. I think, didn't that happen already? 7-10, though. Whew. That'd be awful. Another terrible, terrible matchup. Let's try to make limited time on this one. The Vikings are 11-2. New York Giants are 2-11, and they only scored 11 points today in New York. Well, it's New Jersey, MetLife Stadium. 2-11, 14-11. The New Orleans Saints win another game. Too little, too late for that, though. Gosh, dang it, Drew Lock, another interception. He's just he's mobile. He's kind of mobile, but he doesn't do a whole lot else. Malik Neighbors did get 5 catches for 79 yards, so good for him. That's about it for the Giants. Tyrone Tracy Jr. did get in the end zone on 16 rushes and 45 yards. And it took him like forever to get there. Derek Carr, Mr. Grape Jelly, stained on his shirt himself with another interception. That's what grape jelly stains are for those of you that might be new to the show. Another turnover. That's what it is. 31 attempts, 20 completions. Just average. That's kind of what Derek Carr is. He's just average. You know what I mean? Like, imagine, like, Derek Carr is going to be the quarterback of the Vikings. I'd be like, okay. You know what I mean? Did that sound like I'm excited? No, you're not going to win anything with Derek Carr. That ship has sailed. That ship is out to sea. That ship is so far out to sea, you'll never find it again. unless you're on the ship itself. Yeah, otherwise you ain't finding that one. If that ship doesn't want to be found, you ain't finding it. Okay, I made my point. Philadelphia Eagles just rolling along, rolling against a Carolina team that's had some competitive games lately, but they still lose every damn one of them. That's why they're 3-10, 22-16. Philadelphia winning in Lincoln Financial Field. I do not want to go there in this postseason. Now, at the same time, if we do go there, that means probably we've advanced in the playoffs. But I'm telling you, I do not want to go there. I mean, I last time we had a playoff game in Philadelphia, it didn't work out so good. Just look at the records, okay? Just look it up. What's it called? FootballDB.com, database.com, and go into the history for records by opponent and all that. Yeah, and just look at it. Yeah, it was a bad day. It's really bad for those of you that need your memory jogged, or you never saw it because you're young or whatever. Ooh, anyhow, Bryce Young, okay, Derek Carr, I guess. 34 attempts, 19 completions. No, that's worse than Derek Carr. 191 yards. Jalen Hurts been playing very solid, not been turning the ball over. Like, remember last year how mediocre he was. Okay, he's mediocre again. He completed 2/3 of his passes, but only 108 yards. But he threw for 2 touchdowns and ran in a touchdown. So for fantasy, he's pretty good. But, like, I don't know, only 108 yards. Wow. Kind of weird. It's kind of weird. How about Adam Thielen? 9 catches, 102 yards. He's been having a bit of a renaissance lately, hasn't he? Good for Adam Thielen. It's nice to see. I know everybody in town wants him back. I don't know. I guess it wouldn't be the worst thing ever, but I think our wide receiver duo is doing just fine at the moment, as long as they're healthy and stuff. That's great. Okay, let's just move on. Philadelphia beat Carolina. That's not a good matchup, really. Philadelphia didn't play that great, but they won, and they're 11-2. Just like the Chiefs keep frickin' winning, and Detroit keeps frickin' winning, and Vikings keep frickin' winning, which is great. But the other teams keep frickin' winning, so we can't frickin' catch them. Damn it. Pittsburgh Steelers, who also kept frickin' winning for a while, they lost recently, didn't they? Didn't they lose to the Brown Bags a few weeks ago? But now they beat the Brown Bags. The Steel is back in town. They're 10-3. Man. Beginning of the season, who'd have thunk the Vikings and the Steelers would have a combined 21 wins right now? Right now. Not the total of the season, but at the beginning of December here. Well, second week of December, just starting into it. Who'd have thunk it? 21 wins, man. It's impressive. It's impressive. You think, the Steelers must be undefeated or something, and the Vikings have a couple of wins in there. No, they're not undefeated. The Vikings have even more wins than the Steelers. Something about that Tomlin, let me tell you. Oof. Jameis Winston with 2 more interceptions. Grape jelly all over his jersey, 2 touchdowns, though. That's cute and everything. About 50%, 212. He's a mess. But when he's good, he's awesome. Wasn't too awesome today. Russell Wilson wasn't great, but he was good. He didn't throw the interception, didn't lose a fumble. 2 touchdown passes. He didn't run anything in. Nope. The mobility is not what it used to be, but it's a little bit still there. 15 to 26, with 158, and that's all they really needed. Steelers are 10-3. Oof. Cordero Patterson did lose a fumble, though, because he just lost a fumble. That's how he rolls. It was not on a kickoff or punt return. He just lost a fumble. 2 sacks for Cameron Hayward. Thought that's notable, because once you get more than 1 sack in a game, I think that's pretty good. Cleveland Brown Bags, Myles Garrett with a sack. And I like the Cleveland Browns, but they're the Brown Bags this year. They should be better than this. That's why they're brown bags that are filled with dog dookie or something else. But, yeah, it's dog dookie. Tampa Bay Schmuccaneers. I do believe the Vikings would be heading to Tampa if the season ended today, because when you don't win the division, you go on the road, no matter how good your record is. Yuck. Las Vegas Raiders. Did I call them Oakland? The Las Vegas Raiders, 2-11. Yuck. Tampa Bay first place in the crappy NFC South. But hopefully the Vikings show up to play. If they have to go to Tampa, you got to be ready to go. That's not going to be that easy. Baker Mayfield with 3 touchdowns. Hopefully there's more grape jelly there, because he threw 2 interceptions today. Vikings are going to have to hope for that. And a fumble loss. So that's 3 turnovers for Baker Mayfield. Yet they still win because it's the Raiders. You know how the AVGN kept saying because it's Goonies 2, like all the weird aspects that didn't make any sense. Like it's not Goonies because it's Goonies 2. He was making fun of the Nintendo game Goonies 2. Yeah, because it's the Raiders. Like Tampa turned the ball over 4 times, but still won because it's the Raiders. Okay, 3, but well, was it 3 or 4? 3 times by their starting quarterback. Ugh, yuck. It's bad because it's the Raiders. That's why. It is. Daniel Carlson made all of his kicks. Yay, good for him. Aiden O'Connell and Desmond Ritter both threw for about 100 yards. Desmond Ritter completed 2/3 of his passes, I believe, or to 3/4 actually. Good for him. 2/3. 2/3, yep. 81 quarterback rating because he didn't throw any touchdowns. Aiden O'Connell, AOC, I hate that name, threw an interception. I don't know. Let's just keep going. Rachaad White, though, got in the end zone running, 90 yards on the ground and 5.5 a carry. Sincere McCormick, boy, I mean, I'm sure they sincerely wish they kept giving him the ball, but they were behind, right? Not a great game, though. Yeah, they were behind, 28-13, so it's the Raiders. Because it's the Raiders. They were sincerely running well and throwing mediocre at best, but they sincerely did not give him the ball enough. Yeah, it's very sincere. Yeah, all sincerity. Yeah, that was cute. Sorry, I'm being a dork. The Los Angeles Bowl, well, it could have been the LA Bowl because maybe the Rams were still in St. Louis and Buffalo had to move to LA, or they're both in LA, because Buffalo moved there and then the Rams moved back as well. I don't know. Remember those rumors years ago, the Los Angeles Bills? Because every time a team moves to LA, the name stays. It's kind of weird. It's an epic battle. I'm forgetting who won. Yeah, the Rams won, didn't they? So now Buffalo. Buffalo is now out of the 2-loss club. There's only a few of us left. Vikings are still in the two losses or less club. What do you have? Kansas City, Detroit, Minnesota, Philadelphia. I think that's it, right? That's only 4 of us left. Wow, what an honor. That's Mount Rushmore, baby. Because Buffalo is now out of it. Pittsburgh was out of it, I believe, a week or 2 ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? I remember when was in it for the longest time. The Washington Commanders, and then out they went big time. They lost a few in a row. The Rams are now 7-6, and they're becoming a pretty big threat. Mr. Stafford, like Pat, played like he was in his absolute prime today. Because I don't think he's in his prime. 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, a quarterback rating of 132. Woo! 23 of 30. Josh Allen, 22 of 37. Not as efficient, but still threw 3 touchdowns, and he ran the ball in 3 times too. So Josh Allen accounted for 6 touchdowns in the game. 3 throwing, 3 running, and 82 yards running. Wow. Josh Allen must have scored about 50 points per fantasy ball in this game. About that, I mean, 342 yards passing, 82 yards running. What the heck? That's how many total yards right there, just that alone. I mean, 82 yards running is pretty solid. I mean, what do you need to add? Back when it was 16 games, you needed to average 62 yards per 16 games to get to 1,000 yards, which back in the day was considered a pretty nice stat. Now it's like, yeah, it's okay if you get to 1,000, that's good, but usually you think 1,200 and beyond, that's like really good. Kyren Williams also got in twice for the victorious Rams. Man, Puka Nacua is not puking anything right now. He is, 12 catches, 162 yards, and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp definitely way better than he'd been. Also 5 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown. What an epic game this was. Epic football, man. But Josh Allen, again, like 50 points. Depending on how passing touchdowns are scored, and I do believe they're scored a lot higher than they used to be. I think they used to count as 3 points back in the day, and now it's like a full 6, I believe. I mean, every fantasy league is different, but 342 yards passing to go with that, and 82 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. That is about, like, if this was, just imagine it's a fantasy Super Bowl right there. Like Josh Allen, my God, you just got me a ring, baby. You just got me a ring, Josh. I mean, that's what I'd be going crazy. Like, how do you not win that game? I mean, I hope my opponent didn't have him. Oh man, and they still lose. That's the joke of fantasy. That's where fantasy football can be a joke sometimes. They still lost. Oh my God, the Bills lost. You realize how crazy that is? If the Rams are even better. Wow, that's got to be the game of the week right there, other than the Thursday night game that we're going to talk about in a moment. I think that's everything, so we might have to go to divisional stuff here. Yeah, it is. That's everything. I didn't miss. Yeah, that was Is it just me, or are people missing this week? There must have been a number of there's no Washington. I think this is the last week for buys. So after that, it's going to be a full schedule, and that's where you're going to get Saturday football to fill in those gaps. So you don't have like 9 million Sunday games, I guess. But then again, who cares? It's not going to hurt anybody necessarily. But you can utilize it and get more views, I guess, on Saturday football. That's usually what December brings. Next week's opponent is the Bears. They got throttled by San Francisco. But again, that one is the last game, and we're not there yet. I'm losing my mind because I can't find the other one. Like, where is it? Yeah, Detroit, Green Bay, Thursday Night Football, back and forth. It felt like the whole game Detroit was going to win, Detroit was going to win, Detroit was going to win. And Green Bay just kind of hung around. Jordan Love, I mean, it's just kind of weird. Like a weird football game, honestly, on the Packers side. Detroit, it wasn't weird at all. They just played well. They took chances, and they gambled and won in multiple cases, especially late in the game. But you never really felt like the Lions were going to lose this game, did you? I didn't think they were. I mean, you're hoping they would just for the sake of drop them down to our record. So then if we beat them head-to-head, guess who's winning the division as the number one record in the NFC and maybe the whole NFL, which won't matter at the Super Bowl. You just, whatever. You're playing at a neutral site, and you just got to be the better team on that particular day. Just like any playoff game, you got to be the better team. I mean, you could be 15-1 and get beat in the first round by the New York Giants, Green Bay, in 2011. Green Bay was 15-1, and the Giants came in and beat them. And what did the Giants do that year? At a 9-7 record, they won the Super Bowl. 9-7. Not the previous miracle they had was 10-6. They did it with an even worse record, and they knocked out They knocked out an undefeated team when they were 10-6. Knocked out a 15-1 defending champion team in 2011 with the Green Bay Packers. It's pretty sick. So there goes memory lane again. Jordan Love only 206 yards in the air, 12 of 20. He only completed 12 passes in this game. It's weird. Josh Jacobs, though, was in the end zone 3 frickin' times. 3 times. Christian Watson, 4 catches, 114 yards. That's more than half of the passing yards of Jordan Love. Then again, look at Darnold with Jordan Addison, the other Jordan. And, of course, Justin Jefferson, Jets. Absolutely sick numbers. Sick numbers. Green Bay just, they're long out of the 2-loss club. They're now in the 4-loss club. They're out of the 3-loss club and now at 4. They're 9-4. Their chances of catching the Vikings are slim to none, which is great. But we do have to play them again. And we have to play Detroit in the final game of the season in Ford Field. Hopefully the Vikings are extremely competitive and are better than what Green Bay offered, as good as they were. Josh Jacobs getting in the end zone 3 times. Green Bay having some crazy moments here and there to kind of stay in this one. Obviously making a field goal, and obviously the Josh Jacobs just being epic as all bleep at times. Packers just kind of making plays when they needed to stay in this one. But then Detroit getting that crucial first down on 4th down. I mean, that was a risky play. But that way they were able to run the clock down to hardly anything, kick a close field goal, and wrap the sucker up. You just kind of could feel like Green Bay just wasn't stopping Detroit when it mattered. They just weren't. Mr. Dan Campbell has guts. He has absolute guts. And like they're saying, it's going to be an epic victory with Detroit gambling and winning the Super Bowl, or an epic, just like horrible, depressing thing, like they come so close and they gamble and lose and do not win the Super Bowl, or lose in the NFC title game to, who knows, the Vikings or something. And we'll see. We'll see what happens, the NFC title game or the Super Bowl itself. But they're going to win going for it or lose going for it, and that's kind of how Detroit is. Dan Campbell is like a way, way better version of Mike Tice. Like, very similar. He even played tight end. A tough guy who played tight end. Loves his team, loves his players. His players love him. And then willing to kind of be a riverboat gambler out there a little bit in the big moments. Not a little bit, but a lot. And we'll see. We'll see if they give up a big lead in the NFC title game again and end up being heartbroken, as Detroit looked like they were going to the bowl last year. Chances are the stupid Chiefs would have beaten them anyway. Hopefully this year the Chiefs are going to be like the Colts of 2009, where they have this epic record all year, but they're barely winning games. And then at the end, everything kind of just, okay, maybe they're not that good, but I guess they made the Super Bowl anyway, and they got their asses handed them by a certain Saints team that didn't deserve to be there at all. They didn't deserve to be there. Sorry, and I'll say that forever. But we'll see what happens. Detroit is, put it this way, there is one team I'd probably root against Detroit with in the AFC right now. Like, say, if Detroit gets to the Super Bowl, more than likely I'm cheering for them because it's probably the frickin' Chiefs. Well, there's a few teams in the AFC I would cheer for, but like the Chargers, I'd probably rather see them win than Detroit just because of the division rival. Cincinnati, of course, but they're not going to get there. Pittsburgh, no way. I'm Detroit all the way. I don't like the Steelers. But Buffalo, that's who it is. If it's Buffalo, Detroit, that'd be a fascinating game. We'll see if that happens. But Chiefs, of course. Anybody playing the Chiefs? I cheer for the Philadelphia Eagles over the Chiefs. You betcha. I was definitely in the minority with that statement, but last time around. But I'll be on the Eagles bandwagon again if it's a rematch. So let's get to next week's opponent and finish up this segment. If I can find them. Yep, there they are with my silent mouse here. 38-13, San Francisco crushes the Bears, who've lost feels like 15 in a row. Weren't they 4-2? So that's like 7 losses in a row now. Levi Stadium, the 49ers lost 4 in a row. They were really, they were so good for a while. Purdy with a great game, 20 of 25, no interceptions, 145 quarterback rating. Caleb Williams is pretty good too, very efficient, 17 of 23, 134 yards, not that much, but threw two touchdowns, brought his rating up. So that's awesome. And Brandon Allen threw an interception. Son of a gun. George Kittle was epic and crazy and awesome, as was Juwan Jennings. Thank you very much. I believe he's in my starting lineup. Yep, oh, he better be. 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Thank you very much, Juwan Jennings. George Kittle, though, did I say 151 yards and 6 catches? It's absolutely sick. DJ Moore, 6 catches, 49 yards. Staying healthy, or staying alive out there. I forgot what his injury was. Was it a hip injury? Or quad injury. That's what it was. And he says, I'm going to play, dang it. And yeah, he played. So thank you, DJ. Only 49 yards, though. But that's he's obviously a threat. And he was a huge threat to us last time around when we played the Chicago Bears. This one will be, again, a whiteout in U.S. Bank Stadium on Monday Night Football. That is the Bears. Caleb Williams obviously showed some awesome mobility against the Vikings last time around. He did lose a fumble in this game, but he did not throw an interception. Only 4 rushes, and they were getting their butts kicked. I would hope the momentum is strongly on the Vikings side to get our 12th win of the season. 12th win of the season. Isn't that great? 49ers staying alive, so good for them. 2 sacks for Leonard Floyd. That's a notable for sure. Only 3 sacks total. Malik Collins got the other one, and the Bears had 1 single sack by T.J. Edwards and 1 interception later on. And again, Williams did fumble in the game. 1 interception by Jonathan Owens of the Bears. So that's who we're looking at, of course. Vikings and Bears history, all-time record. I'm not going to go too deep this time around. We talked about it just a couple of weeks ago. the Vikings do lead the all-time series, believe it or not. 67, 58, and 2, because the Bears haven't been that good, have they? They were great in the 80s, and they kicked our butts many times, and we had that awful playoff game against the Bears in 94, and I bring that up every 5 minutes. I think that's the only playoff game we ever played against the Bears. Yeah, 35-18. That is the only playoff game we ever played against the Bears in all these years of history. 55 years, I believe. This is the 55th year. Vikings and Bears playing against each other in the same division for all these years. Well over 100 games total between these two teams. 2 ties. Trying to remember I don't think I remember ever seeing them tie. I always get kind of intrigued by that. I think they must have been way back in the day. Yeah, we're already at the 60s, and I'm not finding it. Okay, one of them was 67. I think I already talked about this 1,000 times already, but yeah, they're both in the 60s. 67, 10-10 in Soldier Field, and 17-17 in Soldier Field in 1963. Man, that was like 9 days after John F. Kennedy was shot. That's how long ago we're talking here. Jiminy Christmas, man. September 1st, 1963. Michael Jordan wasn't even a year old yet. Wow, that's pretty old. It's pretty long time ago. I love Michael Jordan, but yeah, Chicago, Michael Jordan, yeah, you could put 2 and 2 together, right? So let's look at the matchup if humanly possible, even though it's like, it's, you got to think the Vikings can beat these guys. I would hope so. Caleb Williams is becoming a threat, but I don't think he's going to be a huge threat in this particular game. It would really suck actually to lose this, but these division games can be a pain. DJ Moore, again, remember earlier in the year, was a pain in the butt to deal with. They're not even. Yeah, this is going into today's game. DeAndre Swift, but he played. Elijah Hicks out. Rashawn Johnson out. Running back and defensive back. And all of our guys came back except for Stephon Gilmore. We'll see if he plays next week. Yeah, both of our kicker and our long snapper Andrew DePaula returned. And again, Riker did miss a 47-yarder today, so that sucks. Bears are 23rd in points scored. Vikings are 9th. This is again coming into today's game, so it can definitely change with 42 points scored. Total yards, Bears 27th, Vikings 14th. Again, that's going to be higher, so I probably shouldn't go over this too much. Vikings still lead the league in interceptions. What did we get? 2 today, so now we're at 20. Thank you very much. Bears are at 12th, but less than half than the Vikings, so that's crazy. The Bears are a fairly stingy defense, 9th in the league in points against, but that's going to change after today, giving up 38. So that's something. They have given up a ton of yards, and it's going to be higher. 22nd in the league. 11th in passing yards against, so yeah, I mean, that's decent. It's not like Purdy was a crazy like heavy yards or anything, but good enough. So, for the sake of time, we're going to get moving here, right? And the fact we've played this team 400,000 times, and we beat them just a couple of weeks ago. I expect, this time when they're ahead, you hope the Vikings finish the job this time. Don't let the Bears catch up like the way we did. That was embarrassing, and sure as heck don't fall behind yourself. That'd be stupid. Vikings having to go to overtime against the Bears. Oof, that was frightening, actually. But Romo extremely clutch, and we really appreciate that. Parker Romo, even if it's 29 yards. Well, Blair Walsh missed a 27-yarder to beat the Seahawks. He missed, and we lost. Remember that? Where we all said, bleep you, and turned the TV off? Yeah. That was really stupid and frustrating. And even Romo hit a 26-yarder to put the Vikings at a lead that should have been insurmountable. Should have. I mean, it's not, like, crazy, but 11 points should be enough to finish a game when you're with 2 minutes left. But we all know what happened. The Bears marched down that field. They still used up a minute and a half, which was kind of weird, like terrible clock management because Eberflus was not real good. And I said something really dumb last week. I don't know how this slipped my mind, but Eberflus was fired on Friday, and I said he wasn't fired yet. So he was fired on Black Friday, like right after Thanksgiving. So after that terrible clock management, where Detroit could have been beaten by the Bears, possibly, just like how they maybe could have been beaten by the Packers. Just imagine Detroit losing both of those games. Who would be in first place right now? Vikings, baby. Sole possession, too. But, yeah, that stupid, what was it, Munt getting in the way or whatever, the ball going off his leg, like the 49er receiver years ago. I believe it was, one of the 49er gunner receivers, whatever. The ball went off his leg, and then the Giants recovered, and then they pulled off their miracle in the NFC title game in 2011. Remember that? Remember? Yeah, it's depressing, right, for the Niners, I'm sure. But that's pretty much what happened with Johnny Munt. Bears tied up from Carlos Santos' leg of 48 yards. And Parker Romo ended up, the Vikings defense came out and said, screw you, you're not getting another, you're not moving forward another inch, basically is what happened. Stacking Caleb Williams twice, if I remember correctly, and then just marching down the field, and the Vikings win on a chip shot 29-yarder by Parker Romo. So I think the Vikings win in a game that's not as close. It'll probably be lower scoring than today's game, I'm guessing. Final score, something along the likes of 30-30. I think the Vikings win comfortable, 30-17 over the Bears. 30-17. I think Caleb Williams will get something going, though. DJ Moore will have a pretty good game. He had a really good game last week. So I wouldn't be surprised if DJ Moore got over 100 yards and a touchdown in the game. It might be 30-20, something like that. 30-20. Vikings win by 10. But DJ Moore gets in the end zone for sure. And we'll see what happens after that. Maybe 2 Bears touchdowns and 2 field goals, right? So that sounds about right. But the Vikings add another touchdown and another field goal and win the football game. 30-20 over the Bears. And go to 12-2. Whew! And then I believe we head to Seattle after that. But we'll talk about that next week. For now, we're going to take a break and come back for fan interaction. And we are back here on Purple Mafia, segment number 3, fan interaction segment. And don't you just love the post-game speech by Kevin O'Connell every week? I can't get enough of it now. It's an absolute blast. I love watching it every week, either in between segment 2 and 3 or segment 1 and 2, whatever it is. But Instagram is Purple Mafia Show or at Purple Mafia Show. Just want to see if there's any insights there, but that's usually where I run into the the post-game thread. Gosh, it's awesome. It's so much fun. Yeah, last week we had a couple by Tanae and Mark, I believe. This week I don't see anything on the Instagram, but you guys are way more than welcome to post there. Purple Mafia Show Instagram, if you want to go there. Purple Mafia Instagram, game ball goes to Sam Darnold. Okay, yes. Well, there were a bunch of game balls, and Sam Darnold has a lot of game balls piled up. I don't know where he's going to put them all. He's got so many. CJ Ham got one this week, too. He recovered that fumble, so that was cool. The Twitter account is at Purple Mafia Show. Dave Hickey out of Iowa says, sorry I haven't been active lately or the entire year. It's just been so crazy this fall. Well, you've been fairly active. You've been saying something, but I understand. No, and it's been so crazy this fall, and I haven't been able to post as much. Thanks again, Joey, for doing what you're doing, because I know I wouldn't have time to do it, and you do a great job. Happy Thanksgiving, and thank you very much, Dave, and Merry Christmas season to you, no doubt about it. So we'll see what's going on. Yeah, that was last week. Okay, so we'll move on from there. Next year is ours. Yep, with a follow. Thank you very much. I believe we followed each other on multiple accounts. Thank you very much. Mad Martin out of Northern Scotland. I was saying that interception might be the turning point, the Metellus interception. It felt like it, and then it kind of wasn't. So annoying. Mad Martin saying, let's hope so. And that's the Cousins we know and love. Yep, the interceptions and the mistakes and such. Yeah, pretty much. And I was saying it was hilarious. Yep, he was laughing. Next, 7 instead of 3. Perfect. Yep, that was when the Falcons jumped off sides on the field goal attempt that was made officially by Reichert. But if you can get a new set of downs and keep going, great. And we got 7. So that was a massive turning point in the game, I think, for the Falcons in a lot of ways. And Matt Martin was shocked that Cousins could run. Yep, he did run for a second there. But generally speaking, the mobility is not there for the most part, much to his chagrin and others, I'm sure. How many yards did he get on the ground? Nope. Okay, he was just being mobile and maybe trying to get away. So, yep, that's what Matt Martin. Yep. I didn't think Cousins got much for yards. I guess, yeah, he didn't get any. Because there's always a possibility you miss something. Because, you're not going to see everything 1,000%. Cousins with a point to prove. Yep, and he was getting kind of on fire again. Mad Martin says, so the purple cannot stop the inside run. So what do the Falcons do? Abandon it and settle for a field goal. Brilliant. Yep. They could have gone up the middle and got another short fourth down conversion, and they did not do it. They went for the field goal, and yep, that was a big difference. It's between them and Detroit Lions, where they just keep going for it and going for it. That's where the Lions are not a joke. They're really not. I was saying a lot of their decision-making has been terrible, including defending our receivers one-on-one. We'll definitely take that. And then Martin says, you are not joking. Where were we? Now, 7 on this first drive of the second half is essential. Yep. I was saying, how did we know this wasn't going to be an easy game? Never be overconfident. That's for sure. Continuing, Matt Martin says, and so many people could not see what Cousins was for 6 bleeping years. Yep, I was saying, Phil Mackey, Score North and Purple Daily said, Sam Darnold has been absolutely incredible today. Big time throw after big time throw, even in the face of heavy pressure. And I quoted it, Darnold greater than Cousins. You know, the whole math thing, symbol. Darnold is greater than Cousins. And then Matt Martin said, and so many people could not see what Cousins was for 6 bleeping years. Yeah. I was saying it's really sad. That was 6 whole years wasted. And it really feels that way. Matt Martin puts up the chart at Sky Sports. Kick it out, it says. Quarterback comparison. Yep, Matt Martin says, and to think we could have re-signed Cousins. Completion attempt, 22 of 34 for Cousins. Darnold, 22 of 28. That's 6 less incomplete passes. The yards were almost the same. 335 for Cousins, 347 for Darnold. Touchdown to interception ratio is off the charts. 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for Cousins. 5 touchdowns, no interceptions for Darnold. Darnold was sacked 4 times. Cousins was sacked once. Again, sacked 4 times and still put up with all that. Passer rating for Cousins, 72.5. Darnold, how it wasn't perfect. Yep, and that's what Mr. Kevin O'Connell said in the post-game speech. How it wasn't perfect, I have no idea. But all he needed was 158.3, so he needed a .4 more. I don't know if that's more yards or what. 5 touchdowns. He didn't have an interception. Completion percentage, I mean, he had 6 incompletions. I don't know. I don't get it. That's weird. Weird. Did he need maybe he needed 350? I don't know. He probably didn't really need that though. I don't know. That's weird. Or just 1 extra completion. It's a very strange one. Rick Schmidt. Yep, I was saying Sam Darnold is the first Viking quarterback to throw 5 touchdowns in a single game since Daunte Culpepper on October 17th, 2004, which is over 20 years. That was, again, against the Saints. That was retweeted a few times. Yep. Really appreciate that. Matt Barnes said 40 points, plus we did it. No longer the only team to not do this in a decade. Now, that's unbelievable. Man, yeah, so that's... we haven't scored 40 points in a decade. That's interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, because 40 points, it's a big number, but still, even mediocre teams accidentally score 40 once in a while. So Miami's in the hunt. Good for them. It's too bad they lost to the frickin' Packers. That would have been huge if they won. Still wouldn't catch Denver. Gosh, they're 2 games behind Denver and Baltimore still. I don't think they're catching Baltimore, but maybe Denver. Next one, Dave Hickey, or it's the last one on Twitter anyway, or X. Not sure if it's the post-game thread or not. Oh, yeah, you're welcome to post here anytime about post-game thread. Not sure if it's the post-game thread or not, but what a second half I missed. A lot of it putting up Christmas lights, but they dominated. And cool, I wish I could. So when you want, Dave, you're more than welcome to share with us your Christmas lights. You have them turned on and all that stuff. It'd be cool to see. More than welcome. I mean, I'm a huge fan, huge supporter of Christmas lights. I like looking at the lights just about 2 feet in front of me right now. At least the synthetic tree with some pieces of wood, pine sap from the bottom of real Christmas trees. People cut off the bottom of Christmas trees when they're gonna, when they buy one, and then so that way the trunk will be able to drink water, because the bottom might be dried out, so it might not be able to do that. That's why people do that when they cut off the bottom of the tree. So I took the bottoms from a couple trees, that were already cut and going to be thrown away. The bottom thing, it's kind of like a hockey puck shape, and it smells so good. So I brought them home so I could have that scent in here when I'm standing by my tree. Sound smart? Maybe. Yeah, I have to pick it up and hold it in my hand to smell it, but it's worth every whiff. So, where's the Facebook page? It's closed. So I wasn't prepared there. My apologies. Facebook, you're just looking up Purple Mafia Show. So that's how you get it. It's not facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show anymore, but hopefully someday I can get it back to that again. It would make things a lot easier. Is there any threads? Yes. Yep, the Vikings Falcons in-game thread. Is there anything at the end of last one? Yes. When I put out the 1 minute 18 seconds episode, that's what it's called, episode 442. That's how much time the Vikings led in the game last week. Jay Or excuse me, Mark Carlson said, "Get it? Well, it's hot." To Jay Mason, Chase Carlson, and Jay also liked it. So hopefully he listened to it. Really appreciate it if he did. And thank you so much, Mark, for sharing. Next, so the Vikings and Falcons in-game thread looks a little bit busier than other weeks, which is great. And this is a pretty emotional game, to be fair, considering who we were playing up against. All comments are relevant, damn it. Don't know why it does that. I was saying, how did we know this wasn't going to be an easy game? I just want to see the chronological order here. Okay, let's try to get the 8-hour ones first so I don't get too far, so I don't get it all mixed up. Mark Carlson said, how Atlanta drove and scored quickly on the opening drive leaves me feeling concerned. And I was saying, yep, basically. Yeah, it's scary. At the time, Leland was saying, yep, Leland's also from Iowa, just like Mark, saying secondary needs to step up. And I was like, they eventually did, finally. Gerald String says, boom, just like that. Leland was saying D steps. D hold on to a field goal. Gerald String says D steps up. Yep, and then the nice pick, says Leland. Finally, JJ getting a touchdown. Yep, says Leland. That's a fact. Yep, that's a big deal for sure. Mark Carlson saying, be careful at halftime, Joey. It's really nice out. Well, in my area it is. Yeah, it was nice here as well. Yep, he was afraid that I might accidentally disappear and not see the rest of the game. Yep, I watched the whole game, so I was able to keep up. Well, I stayed outside, but I had it on mobile. I watched it very closely, of course, with the sound, in my ears, so I could really hear it like you're at the game or watching it at home. So, yes, I did some walking a bit outside in the second half, but had it right in front of me the whole time, for the most part. No, I did. During the commercial breaks, I put it in my pocket, though, because you don't want to look too nerdy holding a phone all day. But most of the time I actually was sitting down, then I'd walk when the breaks would come on, because I don't like walking with the phone. I don't like when people do that crap. Mark was saying it's about okay, let's get to Mike Dale first. From the state of New York, Big Leg Bill's return and his reunion party spoiled. Bully spoiled by a J Jets touchdown. Oh well, yep. Mark Carlson was saying it's about time to build a lead. Those close games have been hard on me, and it's like now eating the words, because we ended up tying it up. But then eventually things got better, and the Vikings did pull away. Post-game thread. Final area. Yep, a few comments there. That's good. Again, this is the Facebook page. I think Mark might have opened things up. Yeah, we have Mark, Leland, great. Tanae Brown, and Gerald. Is Mike Dale in there? Oh, man. Where's Mike Dale? Come on, Mike. He posts the best threads ever. He has the best comments ever, when it comes to the post game. But, I mean, of course, the four of you are great, fantastic, and I appreciate it so much, and I'm dead serious. Mark is saying, a fun second half. Loved how the defense stepped up as the game went on. Give the Tarkington Award to Byron Murphy. 11-2, wow. Tell me what planet I'm on. Man, yeah, because it is crazy. 11-2. Leland, Iowa, says family was out shopping, so the dogs and I got to sit and watch a full game uninterrupted. That's good. And it was solid. Darnold has been a pleasant surprise so far this year. School, yep, but generally speaking, yeah, he's been an amazing surprise. Excuse me. Tanae says, what a complete demolition in the second half. Sam Darnold looked incredible. No matter what the defense threw at him, he just made play after play. This was one of the most enjoyable games I've ever watched from the Vikings. Absolutely awesome. And wasn't that a great game? Yeah, second half was beautiful. Gerald says, man, why didn't I put Addison on my fantasy team when I had the chance? He's tearing it up out there, but that's awesome. Okay, so those were a little bit earlier, but that's okay. Leland was saying, I put him in my team. Perkins got put out. Yep. Yeah, I mean, that was an awesome day. Awesome day by Mr. Jordan Addison. I keep wanting to say Kalen Addison, former Minnesota Wild defenseman who wasn't real good at the end of the day. I don't even know what ever happened to him. Yeah, so we had two Addisons for about a year there. Kalen Addison and Jordan Addison, so it's kind of funny. Kalen, of course, again, with the Wild, not the Vikings. But that would be great. Sorry, sipping coffee here. Like a hot, cooled off coffee, but you get the idea because it's later at night. So with that said, that's pretty much a wrap on this one. If you want to call into the show anytime, simply pick up your smart device, use any free voice recording app that's out there. Just press record. Treat it like you're doing like a little miniature segment or whatever, it's like a phone call or like a show, whatever. You could use your laptop or desktop if you have a software to record on. And then when you're done, just send it to me at paladinolive@yahoo.com. paladinolive@yahoo.com. There's really no length restriction. I don't necessarily want like 2 hours or anything. I mean, that's when you probably could have your own show. But just saying, there's no real restriction necessarily. Unless, but very few people are probably going to go over like 5 to 10 minutes maximum anyway. So, but yeah, you're more than welcome to do that. I will then convert the file into an MP3 thanks to cloudconvert.com. Really appreciate what they do there. Hey, I encourage you to join crypto.com. The link is in the show description if you want to help Purple Mafia that way, because that can help put Purple Mafia, and I can also put $25 in your account right away. When you click on the link, shows that I referred you, and then there you go. $25 is put into your account, and with the way crypto is going, I think you should get on the bandwagon. It's doing really well. Crypto is doing really well, and a certain, let's just say, politically, things are heading in the right direction when it comes to cryptocurrency trading from where it had been. 2021, things were going fine still, and then certain people changed changed the way they tax cryptocurrency, and everything went down real quick. But it's heading back in the right direction now as we head into 2025. So, yeah, cryptocurrency, strongly recommended. It's gone way up already since a certain event at the beginning of November, the first week of November. So, with that said, again, and you can hear more conversation about that type of stuff on Freedom of Thought if you want to. If you don't, that's up to you as well. I'd rather stick to sports, that's fine. I try to stick to sports as much possible here, but freedom of thought is freedom of thought. That's what it is. So, with that said, thank you so much for listening. Gonna enjoy some more Christmas lights and recommend you do the same. And if any of you did your own Christmas lights in your house, or you just want to show a really nice Christmas tree that you did, feel free to share it with us here at Purple Mafia. We'd love to see it. Absolutely, myself and obviously other members of the page probably wouldn't mind seeing it. Not at all. So we're big fans of Christmas here on Purple Mafia. Big supporters. Big supporters of the words Merry Christmas here on Purple Mafia. Merry Christmas, Corey Koski, just in case 1 in a million chance he's listening. It'd be pretty cool if he was. But you never know. If he's local and his wife is here, maybe they're big Viking fans. Who knows? Even though, well, Canada doesn't have an NFL team, so I wouldn't doubt they probably support the Vikings, I'm sure. So unless they have like one of the more East Coast teams instead, like Buffalo Bills or something, because they're pretty close to Canada. But anyhow, enough of my babbling. Hope to hear from you next week. Thank you so much, Mad Martin, Mark Carlson, Leland, Tanae out of New Zealand, Tanae Brown out of New Zealand. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody that posted today. Dave Hickey, of course, out of Iowa. Mike Dale out of the state of New York. Yep, love to hear from you guys, and can't wait to hear from you again. And Malcolm out of California, Sam out of California, love to hear from you again if possible. That'd be great. Others, Justin Day, locally, great guy, obviously, and he called me the OG Vikings podcast, and that is an awesome honor. Thank you again, Justin Day, if you're listening. Does a great show on YouTube as well. Just look him up. He does. It's awesome. He's really good. So strongly recommended. With that said, take care. God bless, and we'll be back in a week.